fried chicken, and Lake Lanier. That's what comes to mind when people think about Gainesville. But I'm here to tell you there's a lot more to one of the most booming cities in Northeast Georgia than those two things. We're going to jump into a Google Maps tour of Gainesville and show you a lot more about what makes it so special and so desirable for people to move to, and why it is growing at an unbelievable rate. How's it going? My name is Winston Gibbs with the Living in Northeast Georgia channel. And I'm here to tell you everything there is to know about the recreation, the lifestyle, the entertainment, and the real estate from the metro Atlanta suburbs to Athens to Lake Hartwell and everything in between, including Gainesville, Georgia. Make sure you hit the button to subscribe to my channel, get the bell for notifications so you can get all the updates when new videos release on what makes Northeast Georgia special and if it's at the top of your list for places to move to. Gainesville, Georgia has been growing at a rapid rate. There's been a huge increase in the people that have moved there in the last 5 to 10 years. It is honestly one of the fastest growing cities in Northeast Georgia. It's growing because of many factors, including a very, very strong economy. It has a great combination of historic charm, small town living, and big city amenities. Its location is unbelievable. All those factors combine to create a really, really strong environment for real estate and for desirability to move to. So let's jump into the Google Maps, show you around Gainesville from a virtual tour. And if you want to come see it in person, just give me a call, leave a comment below, or schedule a meeting on my Calendly link below. To start out with, let's get an idea of where Gainesville is located, because location, as most people know, is one of the most important parts in real estate. So Gainesville is located in Hall County. This is the footprint for the actual city of Gainesville, according to Google, and that is usually very, very accurate. But you can see it's very chopped up and it's kind of sporadic. But I'm going to show you in a second what the MLS looks like from a zip code standpoint of where all the coverage areas from a real estate standpoint come from. But Gainesville is located in Hall County, Georgia. These red dots make up Hall County. And that may sound familiar if you've seen some of my past videos about Lake Lanier, because a large portion of Lake Lanier, all of this is located in Hall County. And as you can see, Gainesville is in the heart of all of it. So as I zoom out, let's take a look at kind of what shapes Gainesville and why that location is super important, because that is a huge part of it. There's some major roadways that create incredible accessibility for this city. As you can see here, one of the main roads, as you can see, 985 connects with Highway 85, Interstate 85, and goes straight into Atlanta. By distance, without traffic, you're looking at about 45 minutes to an hour. It is super, super convenient to get into Atlanta, which gives you access to all the things that the metropolitan area has. You have the Brave Stadium, which is over here, easy to get to. You have State Farm Arena over here, where you have your entertainment. You have the airport, so you're probably looking at an hour and a half to the airport, the biggest airport in the world or the busiest airport in the world. And then you have all of the other Atlanta suburbs, which have other attractions if you want to get out of the Gainesville area to get into what Atlanta and its metro area has to offer. That is one of the major, major highways that lead there. If you're coming from the north side of Gainesville up here on this side of the lake, it's easy to jump over here. You take a couple of shore roads, and then you're going to jump and you're going to take Highway 400 all the way down, and it's going to give you a similar connection. So depending on if you're on the north side or the south side of Gainesville, you have a major roadway that you can get easy access to get into the metro area. Another major roadway that connects Gainesville to a larger city is Highway 129. Is right here, and it feeds all the way into Athens. Go Dogs, baby. You have a lot of alumni from the University of Georgia who moved their way into Gainesville. And Highway 29 is a direct shot into the Athens area. Now, when we talk about location, there's one other important thing to notate about Gainesville is right up here is the North Carolina line. You can see this is the line that goes to North Carolina. And all of this area up here, you can see, with its darker color, notates some of the base of the Appalachian Mountains, if you want to say. There's unbelievable towns like Helen and Cleveland, Dahlonega. You can get over to Toccoa and Tallulah Falls, up to Hiawassee, Blairsville, Dillard, and Clayton. All those are unbelievable mountain towns that are just a super short drive, anywhere from 35 minutes to an hour and a half to get to and enjoy the mountain areas. So you have equal access to the city and to the North Georgia mountains and experience all the beauty, especially in the fall, of the North Georgia mountain. Almost like a smiley face. I'd be smiling too if I was in that area. All right, so jumping back and focusing a little bit more on Gainesville. Again, I said that this is the outline of what the city is, but from a real estate perspective, let's take a look at what the MLS shows. These are all the listings that are in Gainesville, or at least notated as a Gainesville address. And you can see that this area definitely covers a larger span than what the Google Maps said. So, you know, a lot of times in the real estate world, we'll take someone's search and I'll do a little bit outside of that box in case we find something that's perfect for somebody. But you can see it covers all of these areas. And while I'm here, I'm just gonna go ahead and show you. There's about 497 listings right now. These are anything in Gainesville with 3 beds and 2 baths, condos, townhomes, or single family residences. The average listing price right now is right here at $758,000. Now that number might be a little bit deceiving because of the influence of Lake Lanier. One of the other videos that I did on Lake Lanier, or a series of videos, is going to show you that the average price on the lake, regardless if you're in one of these areas down here, or if you're up in the Gainesville area here, you're going to be averaging about $1.4 million a house. So because of the impact of Lake Lanier, which is a huge benefit to the Gainesville area, you're going to see the prices of real estate be a little bit higher than what the average is. Also, I think it's important to notate, these are all the listings that have sold since February. So we got about a 5-month feed right here. And you can see average close price is $542,000. So what I'm tending to lean to here is that some of these houses that are listed on the lake, maybe it's, as you see on Zillow, make me move offers, or someone's trying to get a big number for their house. The actual price of houses that are selling is closer to that, a little bit over that $500,000 mark. And that has 475 closings since February 1st. So that gives you an idea of what the real estate market looks like in the Gainesville area. And a little bit later in this video, we will highlight some of the different areas which give different pros and cons within the Gainesville area, depending on what part you want to go to. Now let's jump back to the map. So I always talk about, we're going to highlight the recreation, the entertainment, the lifestyle, and the real estate in our videos. Well, let's talk about our recreation first, because who doesn't like to have fun? Obviously, the big elephant in the room, or the big chicken as they'd probably rather say in Gainesville, is Lake Lanier. Lake Lanier is such an impactful part of this community. Real estate prices go up. People want to move here for this. They want to retire here for this. They want to get second homes for this. They want to get investment properties for the Lake Lanier. The economy thrives off of it with all the marinas, the restaurants around the lake, mechanics that work specifically on boats. All those different things are a huge benefit to the Gainesville area. And you can see there's a lot of waterfront property that touches Gainesville. If you think back to the MLS map, you're going to see a lot of this part with also titled Gainesville. And you're going to see some of this up here as well. So all those areas, you look at all this, there is lakefront property all around here. I mean, there's so much lakefront property. And Lake Lanier, like I said, is great. Now, if you don't live on the lake, you have easy access to a lot of awesome places on the lake. One of them specifically, I highlighted it in another video I did. I know I sound kind of monotonous about it, but it is an awesome area, and that's why we want to highlight it. It is the Lake Lanier Olympic Park right over here. This is a really cool feature that Gainesville has in its community. Lake Lanier Olympic Park is where they hosted the 1996 rowing championships and canoeing championships for the Olympics that were hosted in Atlanta. This park is awesome. It's free to get to. They do food trucks out there a couple times a month. You can go get rowing lessons. You can go get kayaking lessons. You can get swim lessons. They do camps. Lake Lanier Olympic Park is a really cool asset to the community. They even have a replica of some of the Olympic rings over there. Another really cool feature that highlights Lake Lanier is the Don Carter State Park. Again, you're going to see it's not necessarily right on the Gainesville area, but it is easy access from the Gainesville community. And this is the only true Georgia state park on Lake Lanier. But there are tons and tons of walking trails and places to ride your bike and get out and enjoy nature in the Don Carter State Park. And with that much lake frontage, as you can kind of see here, you get all this lake frontage. There are going to be plenty of places to get out and go swim, enjoy it, fish, do whatever you want to do to enjoy the lake life. Especially if you're not one of the folks that have the ability to buy property on the lake right now. Another spot that is unbelievable and a really, really cool feature of Gainesville, and I don't even have to do a search on this because Google says it's so awesome, is the Atlanta Botanical Gardens Gainesville campus. So the Atlanta Botanical Gardens are famous, and there's all an unbelievable experience to go enjoy the beauty of what that, if you're into the horticulture thing, that's not my knowledge or background, but I know a lot of people love it. It's great for a date night. It's great to take kids out to. And there's another campus for the Botanical Gardens in Gainesville where it's not quite as hectic, maybe not quite as big as the one in Atlanta, but it has a really cool place to go and enjoy yourselves. Another great spot is the Elachee Nature Center and the Chicopee Woods Preserve. So I'm going to zoom out just so you can kind of get an idea of where it is. Gainesville downtown is here. This is the Nature Center and the Chicopee Woods Preserve. There are tons of places to get out. There's a lot of bike trails. You can go walk, fish, take the dogs out, take the kids to. You can even see here in the highlight, they have a picture of a kid. So this is a great learning experience, a great way to go do a fun date night, check out the science, check out the nature, check out the trails, or something you can take your kids to. Really cool, special place and very family friendly. And you're going to see that over and over. The Gainesville is a very family friendly area. My last two highlights are going to be the North Georgia History Center right here, located right in the heart of downtown Gainesville. Gainesville's played an important part of the history of North Georgia. And so they have a museum and a history center that is going to give you all that history. I like to know about a place when I'm moving to it. So it dates all the way back to the Revolutionary War, the Civil War, and other important factors that Gainesville played in this growth and popularity of Northeast Georgia. Super cool spot. And then the last one is the Ink Center, the interactive neighborhood for children right downtown, which is a super cool hands-on environment for kids to go learn and play and really get to put their hands on and experience learning in this neighborhood center. It's super, super cool. I would highly recommend if you are local to the area, go check it out. Or if you're thinking about moving to the area and you have children, it'd be a cool spot to go play and for your children to interact. A lot of those were super family-friendly options. And one of the other cool things that makes Gainesville, talking about recreation and lifestyle entertainment, is the awesome downtown square. As you can see, I'm going to zoom out in a second, but the downtown square is awesome. My last video, when I did the vlog of Gainesville, I started in it. You can get some really good views of what this square is. It is an awesome, awesome square with tons of shops and restaurants, boutiques. It is a little bit of everything, and it's right in the heart of Gainesville. It doesn't feel like you're in as big of a city as Gainesville actually is. It really has that historic charm. This is the zoom out just so you can get an idea of where Gainesville is in relation to some of the major roadways and in relation to the lake. Now, one of the super cool things about the downtown square is the city of Gainesville has really made an effort over the last 5 to 10 years. They have a plan to continue to make the city grow and to be sustainable. One of those things is to make sure the community is involved and there's things for the community to do. Downtown Gainesville has many festivals throughout the year. They have Food Truck Fridays very, very regularly. They have Christmas on Green Street, which is right there in the downtown area. They have the Mule Camp Festival, and then they also have the Spring Chicken Festival. And the Spring Chicken Festival has this big light up, almost looks like a Christmas decoration, massive chicken, where they light it up and they celebrate because obviously poultry is a huge part of what the Gainesville community is. It's one of the largest drivers of economy and employers in the entire community. So those are a lot of little festivals that Gainesville does. And as you can see over here, all these orange dots are just different places to go and enjoy a night out. There's gonna be restaurants with patios and rooftops all throughout town. When I was doing some more research, Bourbon Brothers Smokehouse and Tavern's awesome. The Boot Barn's awesome. You can see, I didn't have to search those. Those have already popped up. And there's tons of other little places throughout the downtown area, which if you want that more localized food option. But Gainesville does have all of the major chain options as well. And so from a culinary standpoint, it is a great, great place to eat and enjoy the food culture. Now, one thing I want to let you know is that in Gainesville, in downtown, it is illegal to eat fried chicken with a fork. Yes, that is a fun fact. Yes, it is law, but I have a feeling that no one's actually going to call the cops on you if you try and take a fork and knife and cut your fried chicken, even though if you're really from the South, the only way to eat fried chicken is to pick that thing up with your hands and get into it. That way you can get all the little pieces of meat off the bone. So, fun fact about Gainesville and just a little cool twist in the Gainesville experience. Now, One of the things that I've mentioned is the strong economy. And a lot of times with a strong economy and a place that's super desirable, you have to have a healthcare facility to meet the needs of the influx of people and the different age groups that are there, from infants all the way up to retirees and the elderly population. And Gainesville has one of those. Gainesville's North Georgia Medical Center, as you can see, is right in the heart of Gainesville. Downtown is right here, and it's super close to a lot of these major roadways as well. It's going to be very easy to get to. You look at this pop-up of the medical center from Google Maps, and it is a very large building right downtown. So it's really cool because when you're coming into town, you see some high-rise buildings like the medical center, but then right around the corner, you have that super small downtown. But the Northeast Georgia Medical Center is one of the largest employers in the Gainesville community and the Hall County community. It has jobs from everything you can imagine, from nurses to surgeons to doctors to therapists of all the different sorts and varieties. And it is a great place to go and find a job in this area. Now, this is an easy transition into talking about where do the Northeast Georgia Medical Center get a lot of their employees? Well, obviously from Atlanta, you have some major medical schools like Emory, but Gainesville itself is home to Brenau University, one of the multiple colleges in the town, Brenau University, which is located right downtown. And here's Brenau's right here, right off downtown, real close to the medical center. Brenau has an unbelievable nursing program. I have tons of friends who've gone to Brenau for nursing, and that school, again, they have a lot of other great programs. But when I hear Brenau, the first thing that comes to mind is a nursing program. And so if that's the industry you're in, maybe you want to go teach nursing, you're ready to get out of the actual medical field, Brenau is a great feeder system for the medical facilities in the area. Talking about universities and secondary education for the Gainesville area, not only do you have Brenau University, you also have the University of North Georgia, which is going to be just on the south side of actual downtown Gainesville. So there's Gainesville. It's a short drive from downtown to get to it. The University of North Georgia is actually based in Dahlonega, which is about a 45-minute ride north of the city, and they have a campus here because of the large demographic, and it's a little bit bigger town. That school has been growing, but this is a great facility and a great university to go to. Again, a great feeder for a lot of the really good jobs in the Northeast Georgia area. The last post-secondary that I want to mention is Lanier Technical College, which is just north of the city, as you can see. And the demand for technical schools and trade jobs has grown tremendously. I'm 36. A lot of us were pushed towards the college route, which I'm extremely grateful for my college experience. But I was also blessed to grow up in a school that had technical routes, and seeing schools like Lanier Tech, or if you're in Athens, Athens Tech, and the opportunities young professionals are getting by going to a tech school for 1, 2, or 3 years, and the jobs that they're getting right out of college, these very good high-paying jobs, which eventually could lead them into business owners, which are going to help improve the economy, is great. Lanier Tech is a great school system, great option for students who don't want to go the traditional college route. Now, since I was talking about post-secondary education, let's get into some of the public schools and talk about that, because I know it's super important when you're coming into a community if you have children. Here, if we go to the U.S. News, there's lots of good places where you can get ideas about the school systems. This is one of the ones that I tend to look for, but there are 10 public high schools now. When I was growing up, there were like 5 in Gainesville. But you have Cherokee Bluff, Flowery Branch, North Hall, Johnson, Chestatee, Gainesville High, West Hall, East Hall. There's tons of schools. When I come to the map, I look up high schools in Gainesville. You can see that they're spread out all throughout Hall County. There's Chestatee, Gainesville, East Hall, Johnson. Flowery Branch is going to be over here. And Gainesville, based on its shape that we mentioned earlier, Gainesville touches their schools out through these different areas. Gainesville, the actual city, touches a lot of these other schools. So there's probably about 5 or 6 that are actually in the true city limits of Gainesville, but a lot of those areas touch some of the other schools that are bordering the community. But again, lots of really good college readiness scores, graduation rates, AP prep opportunities at these high schools. And there is a very competitive sports environment in the Gainesville area. And as a sports junkie, I got to tell you, it is tough and it is cutthroat depending on what sport you're playing. Every sport you're playing: football, basketball, baseball, softball, soccer, a little bit of everything in the Gainesville area and what those school systems provide. Now, I've mentioned a few times that Gainesville has a thriving economy, and it's not just the medical professions or the school system, because that is also a large employer, but there's a lot of international business based in Gainesville. One of the biggest ones, which I've mentioned, is the poultry capital of the world, but Pilgrim's Pride, which is a large provider of chicken and poultry, is right here, super close to Gainesville downtown. Huge international employer and packager. The food industry is a huge industry in Gainesville. One of the other ones that's going to sound familiar is Mars Wrigley. It's actually technically, I guess, in Flowery Branch, but the people of Gainesville like to call it home. There's actually multiple locations. You can see it's right here, Mars Wrigley. That's the gum, is a big one. King's Hawaiian, if you've heard that name, those are those awesome little sweet rolls. If you've made sliders, if you've thrown those on the barbecue to make a slider, then these sweet, beautiful rolls that everyone loves is right here in the Gainesville area. Huge provider of employment in that area. A lot of these jobs, you're gonna have managerial positions, you're gonna have sales positions, you're gonna have operator positions, you're gonna have a little bit of everything. They're huge companies that you can go work for, and you can find really good paying jobs so that you can afford real estate in the Gainesville area. And then another one, construction is a large part of the Gainesville industry. But Kubota, which is one of the manufacturing hubs for a lot of your heavy equipment, a lot of your lawnmowers, all that kind of stuff, Kubota also has a manufacturing plant in the Gainesville area. Those are just some of the really big, super large employers in the area, but there's tons of other opportunities throughout the Gainesville area to find good paying jobs. Like I said, medical field, or you can start your own business. Obviously, real estate has been thriving in the area. There's tons of options to find good employment in the area. With the interstate going right through there, you can get where you want to go pretty quickly, get to those shops, and still get into town. All right, we're getting close to finishing up here. Since I mentioned the real estate part of it, if I come back to this slide, you're gonna see you got all these houses. There's 500 houses on the market right now, priced anywhere from $115,000 all the way up to $6 million. But where are some of the best areas to look for to move to in Gainesville? And it depends on really what you're looking for from a real estate perspective. If you come up to the north side up in here, this is like the Chestatee area, you're going to get a lot more rural feel. You're going to find multiple acres up here. It's going to have a really small town country vibe, but it is still Gainesville. And you can have easy access to the downtown, or you can jump on one of the other roadways and get wherever you want to go to. That is a very good area if you're looking for a little bit more privacy, small town, rural feel. Obviously, I talked about how awesome Gainesville downtown is. I was just hanging out the other day. It was thriving. There were people walking all around the streets. There's people driving. It was really busy, and it was a great place to be. But if you want that walkability, or maybe get a golf cart, and as I zoom in, this historic area, which in my last video, you're going to see some of this in my drive-through. All this is your like downtown historic area. And that is a really cool place to be. You're going to see a lot of mid-century moderns. You're going to see some of the houses that were built in the 50s, 60s, 70s that have been renovated. You're going to have a wide variety of price points throughout there, but it is a super cool area which has that historic charm that we were talking about. Great area to live into and look into if you want to be close to downtown. Another really good area that I referenced on my last video when I highlighted Gainesville, and this area over here, more west, southwest of Gainesville, closer to the Oakwood area, a lot of people refer to it as Monday Mill. You're going to see a lot of new construction. You're going to see a lot more suburbs. And with it being a little bit closer to the Atlanta area, it is desirable for a lot of people. And when I was doing searches in this area, you're going to see a lot of those houses from like the 350 up to about 600 or 700. So it's going to be below the average price point in the Gainesville area. Awesome. There's a lot of access to your shopping, like your Targets, your Home Depots, some of those things in the Monday Mill area. And then the last area that I really want to highlight as far as where you may want to look for your next real estate move is the New Holland area and the Limestone area over here. Again, this is going to be really good for commuters, maybe from the medical field. You want to get to this area because it is close to the medical center, or if you're driving in to commute to Atlanta, you have super easy access to 85. And again, you have options for good retail shopping, or your Home Depot, your Lowe's, your Targets, all those are in this area. Again, a lot of new construction in this area, more of your modern subdivision, swim, tennis communities in this area. So Gainesville does have a lot of different options from a real estate standpoint, depending on what you're looking for. So we've talked about real estate, we've talked about recreation, we've talked about lifestyle, we've talked about a little bit of everything, the economy, what makes Gainesville great. But as you know, if you've been following along, we can't talk about an area without talking about one of my favorite pastimes and one of my favorite hobbies is golf. And golf is great in the Gainesville community. If I type in golf, you're going to see different places pop up. Oh, I almost missed one. Big one as far as places you want to live. But it kind of feeds into what I was saying. The last really good area that a lot of people look to is the Chattahoochee area, which is the Chattahoochee Golf Club. You're going to have a lot of upscale housing in the golf course community, which is very common in golf course communities. But this is also a really desirable area for people to get to. You're going to have options for lake. You're going to have golf, community neighborhoods, all this in the Chattahoochee area. Very popular area. But Chattahoochee Golf Course, great club. I've heard great things about it. You have Chicopee Woods, which is a super cool place to play. It's been a long time I've been out there. Just south of Gainesville, you have Royal Lakes. And then not farther away, you've heard me mention a few times, is you have Chateau Lime, which is a beautiful club with 3 different courses. All these are wonderful, wonderful places to play. If you really want to get and go a little bit farther, you can go up to Chestatee Golf Club. And because I just played putt-putt the other day, I can't not mention that you have a miniature golf course over here, which is going to be, if you look for attractions in Gainesville, it's going to be one of the first things to pop up. Super cool putt-putt. I haven't done it yet, but I really do want to go check it out to maybe see if I can refine my skill when I get on the actual greens. So that's a quick highlight of what Gainesville has to offer. Again, its location is awesome with proximity to Atlanta and proximity to Athens and proximity to the North Georgia mountains. They have major employers through the medical field, through manufacturing, through poultry and different food industries, and through education. The education system is really good. There's lots of different options for schools, and if that's going to dictate where you go, we talked about some of the different neighborhoods throughout the Gainesville community that you could look into moving to. And then lastly, that historic charm with the downtown that has that awesome square, all the festivals to go enjoy, super, super family friendly, or date nights, whatever you want. Gainesville has a little bit of everything. That's why it really is a perfect combination of historic small town charm with your big city amenities. We didn't even really touch on where a lot of those bigger amenities are, but they're all throughout the community. And you can tell with some of those major roadways, they're not going to put those there if some of the major employers and chains aren't there. Gainesville is a great place. And like I said, there's a lot more to Gainesville than just chicken and Lake Lanier. I'm curious, what would make you most excited about moving to Gainesville? What's going to maybe tip your hat to give Gainesville an option if that's where you want to move to? Let me know down in the comments. For me, it's the great golf and it's the lake. That's what's going to drive wherever I want to go. If it's a place I decide to move to one day, you would not be shocked to find me in the Gainesville area. My name's Winston Gibbs with the Living in Northeast Georgia channel. Make sure you hit the button to subscribe and get the bell for notifications so that you can find out everything there is to know when new videos come out about the recreation, the lifestyle, the entertainment, and the real estate from the metro Atlanta areas to Athens, Lake Hartwell, and everything in between, including great places like Gainesville, Georgia. I'll see you at the next video.